Hello, Narwhals. In this video, we are going to review one of the most important and powerful assignments that we are going to do this year. It is called the Article of the Week. Usually we call it the AOW. By the end of this video, you should know what is an AOW, why are we doing this, and generally, how are we going to do it. The Article of the Week, or the AOW, is a two-part assignment. I will hand you an article and you are going to first complete annotations, which means you read the article and you make notes on it. Then, when you are complete your annotations, you write a reflection. The reflection is going to change every single time we do an AOW. Sometimes you'll be writing just to answer questions about the article. Other times you might be writing a story. Other times you might be writing a discussion post. Each article will have different writing prompts, but they will always be about the article. And you will have to use what you learned in the article in your writing. Also, one more quick thing, even though this is called the Article of the Week, we don't do this every single week. It's more of a 2 or 3 times a month thing. Now that we know what it is, let's talk about why we are doing this. This is a really powerful assignment because it's something you can use for the rest of your life. As you get older, you might not have as much teacher or adult help to help you figure out how to read something or figure out what it means or pull from the text whatever you need. Eventually, you're going to be on your own and you're going to need to understand things on your own without an adult. Here's some examples. Let's say later in middle school, a teacher hands you an article and they give you an assignment and they just say, hey, you need to figure out how to do this on your own. That could happen. Or what if you're applying for a scholarship for college and there's specific requirements? They hand you a piece of paper and you need to figure out if you qualify. Or later in life, when you're an adult working, your boss might hand you a really complicated thing to figure out, and it's going to be your job to figure it out to make money to perform your job well. Or let's say you buy something like an appliance when you're older and you open up that instruction manual and oh my goodness, it's so complicated. You have to figure out that as well. In all of these examples, you could be on your own trying to figure out how to do something or trying to read a story and figure out what it actually means. The annotations that we learned this year during our AOWs will help you take notes about any text, whether it's a story or something informational. So the annotations are a system of notes that you could use in school, at work, or in real life. The second half of this assignment is a written reflection. We use the word reflection because, most importantly, this writing is supposed to show what you just learned in the article and or show me that you understand what we've been learning in English class. I always try to give you a couple different options to write about so you'll be able to pick what you want to write. And while we will eventually bring some of these pieces through the full writing process where you write and you draft and you edit and you peer edit, most of the things you turn in relating to these AOWs are simply first draft quality with a quick self-edit. So we've gone over what an AOW is and why we do it. Now let's take a look at how we do this. Step 1, read the article straight through without stopping or taking any notes. Step 2, read the article again, but this time we're doing those annotation notes. The 3 annotations I'm looking for are, first, to summarize paragraphs or groups of small paragraphs in the margin. The second one is to underline important facts in the article. And finally, the third one is to circle any words or vocabulary that confuses you. Then you look up the definitions to those words and you write it in the margin. So we are summarizing in the margin, we are underlining the text, and we are circling and clarifying confusion in the margin. Here's a quick look at what mine is, and we're going to look at this in depth when you actually get to this point, but your paper should look like mine, all scribbled up and notes in the margin. This is an annotated text. This is what I'm looking for. And when you finish your annotations, you move on to your written reflection. Remember, the writing should reflect your understanding of the text you just read and any other special requirements that I mentioned relating to English class. You'll see a whole list of prompts. And the prompts could be creative, they could be writing a narrative, you might have to persuade someone, it could be in the form of a discussion prompt, it could be poetry, it really could be any type of writing depending on where we are in the school year. And while you'll be able to often choose the prompts that you write to and the questions that you answer in your reflections, you will always have to meet the length requirement and you will always have to meet the editing requirement. If I also give you something else, like I might give you a special requirement, like you must have a protagonist that faces this type of conflict. If I give you that special requirement, I should see that in the writing that you do. All right, we have reached the end of this little video lesson. By now you should know what an AOW is, why we do the AOW, and some general information about how we do the AOW. If you can't answer any of those questions, you should probably go back and watch this video because we're about to do our first article.